finale for the Jets is this week, and it won't include Aaron Rodgers, which means it's the first time we'll see him since September 9th in the season opener. It's the first time we'll see him on the road against the Niners, making it a year since he's really taken a meaningful snap in a meaningful game. Chris Canty took that to a whole other level on his radio show and basically questioned whether Aaron Rodgers is even the guy anymore in New York.
The New York Jets. I don't think they got the guy. 40-year-old quarterback coming off of an Achilles injury. I don't believe that we're going to see the same version of Aaron Rodgers that won back-to-back MVPs 3 years ago. I think life comes at you fast in the National Football League. We're seeing that a little bit with Russell Wilson and how quickly he has regressed. I think we're in store for Aaron Rodgers playing an extended period of time over the course of this season, but us realizing that he's fallen off a little bit when it comes to his ability to be a difference maker at that position.
Bart Scott, Chris Canty has Aaron Rodgers going from here to under the desk.
Right. What you talking about, Willis? Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know who hurt Chris. I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know if the Jets didn't give him a key code to come over to do an interview or something. I don't know what happened, but, like, that's absurd to think that Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever, throw the football, would fall off that far. I mean, just go back to Peyton Manning. I think he's in better shape than Peyton Manning with the neck injury in Denver. I think he's more mobile, still more mobile than Tom Brady. Yeah. I think right now they don't even need him to be that type of guy. I mean, they had the worst quarterback play in all the league last year. I think this is the best roster that he's been a part of. I think he's rejuvenated by being around these young guys. I've talked to him, and from everybody and everything that I've seen and heard.
Yeah, don't be shy. You've been there.
I've been there three times. I interviewed him. I had him on the show the other day. He's motivated. I think he's refreshed, and I think he's really building some chemistry with Garrett Wilson. And this is arguably the best roster that he's been a part of, top to bottom. This is a team like John Elway didn't have to do much with Terrell Davis. They just needed him to be great at certain times. He don't have to put the Superman cape on. This is arguably the best roster he's had since the Super Bowl. He has two good running backs. He has a good number one receiver. He has a much improved offensive line. People thought that the Jets were a Super Bowl contender last year. Yeah. What do they think about him now that their offensive line isn't at the bottom half, they're at the top half? I know you're dependent on guys to stay healthy, but isn't every team dependent on guys to stay healthy?
Well, more than 4 plays.
Yeah, so, I mean, listen, he doesn't have Dwayne Brown protecting his backside. Right. He has Tyron Smith, a future first ballot Hall of Famer. I think you're in good hands with Allstate.
Well done. Not sure if they're sponsoring the show, but
I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to get out.
Look, NIL is college only. Hawk, so you've got the Canty side, you got the Bart Scott side. What's the Hawk side on this?
As Bart talks, it sounds like he agrees with Canty. Canty said, I don't think you're getting the same quarterback you got from the MVP runs of 2020 and 2021. And Bart is saying, like, yo, we don't need him to be that. So I also agree. When you look at when we saw Aaron Rodgers last during the season, we have spent months and years talking about the fall off of Russell Wilson and how bad he was even a year ago. His last year's season was better than the season Aaron Rodgers played last in every statistical category, no matter how you slice it. And the narrative is completely different. So I don't think Chris Canty is crazy for saying, well, maybe at a guy turning 41,
those are stats,
coming off an Achilles injury, may not be the same guy he was 3 years ago.
Those are cold, hard nuggets on the screen.
But doesn't context matter? He was throwing to 2 rookie receivers after he lost the Hall of Fame wide receiver. Like, come on now. Like, let's keep it a buck. Like, he's throwing to Garrett Wilson.
Who was Russell Wilson throwing to?
What do you mean? He had Sutton.
Oh,
he did. That's accurate. And Jerry Jeudy, who's not there anymore.
Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah. He had Sutton. Graz, ceiling for this team.
Oh,
with the hell, the Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I think it'd be as good as anybody. Like that, the roster is that good on paper. Now, to Bart's point, the tackles are older. Tyron Smith's been hurt a lot. Like, can they keep those guys healthy a whole year? And if not, do they have the depth? I think that's the thing, right? They feel like they have more depth at the offensive line. They have more depth at quarterback. If Aaron has to miss a couple of games, Tyrod Taylor's a better option than anybody they had last year. So they are set up. But we need to see Aaron Rodgers play as a Jet. We saw 4 plays. He has been there almost 2 years now. Like, it is exciting to think about what they can be with Aaron Rodgers. But so far, thinking about it is all we've been able to do.
If he can get through week 1, and there's some semblance of an offense, then you might get a little bit of momentum, and this show may not ever break away from that conversation.
Amari Cooper.
We're going to do some hurry-up offense with Dan Graziano. Dan, give us the latest on the remaining big-time players looking for contracts. Let's start with Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, Brandon Ayuk of the 49ers continuing to talk about a contract extension, but a lot of possibilities still on the table. If he doesn't get what he wants from the Niners, they have a trade or the parameters of a trade in place with Pittsburgh. There are other teams still kind of sniffing around in case this goes south with the 49ers. I'm not going to say we expect a resolution soon because I said that 2 weeks ago and it hasn't happened yet, but just know he could still be in San Francisco or he could be with any number of teams if he decides he wants to be traded. Wide receiver Jamar Chase of the Bengals is not going to get traded, but he is looking for a new contract. Has 2 years left on his deal. He and the Bengals have been in contact about a new contract throughout this offseason and through training camp as he has sat there and not practiced while the rest of the team has. I think Jamar Chase waits for CeeDee Lamb and maybe Ayuk's deal to come in and then reassesses where the market is, whether he wants to do a deal now or next offseason. And speaking of CeeDee Lamb, this is one we've been tracking throughout training camp. Still no deal there. He has 1 year left on his deal. Didn't go to Oxnard with the team for training camp. Cowboys are now back in Texas. And I think once the preseason games are over, there's a long stretch of days between that and the start of the regular season. This is a deal that feels like it's been close for a while. I think it gets hammered out in plenty of time for week 1.
Yeah, speaking of CeeDee Lamb, he's what the Dallas Cowboys need to get over that playoff hump, 12-5 over the last 3 years. And speaking of receivers, let's bring our guy Hawk back in. Now, we're not going to run it, but I can tell you that Louis Riddick used the term sabotage with what Jerry Jones and the Cowboys are doing by not signing CeeDee Lamb and getting this deal done. Hawk, do you agree?
I do agree. I do agree because he is so important to this team, which we all understand. But specifically how they run this quote-unquote Texas Coast offense, the entire thing runs through CeeDee Lamb. In business, they call it a key man risk, that a company is only as valuable as the guy who makes the thing go. CeeDee Lamb is that piece for this offense in the West Coast because it's dink and dunk, and you pick your shots. And CeeDee Lamb's versatility, he actually has multiple roles because he's also the deep threat, he's the short threat, he plays the slot, he plays the outside. Ferguson, Cooks, Dak, Ezekiel Elliott, all of their production is based on CeeDee Lamb being a threat in that offense. And if he is not there, they won't be able to continue what they've done from a season ago. Check out these numbers.
Bart, it seems like the Cowboys are CeeDee or nothing.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think we all know that this deal is going to eventually get done. Nobody foresees him not being there for week 1. You know, sometimes deadlines spurn action. But listen, I'm happy that, Jerry Jones has made it uncomfortable around there. It's been a country club. Guys get rewarded. Guys get paid for no reason. You think about Zeke, and then they don't really have the results. Like right now, I think he's going to get his deal, but I can applaud what Jerry Jones has done. I don't think this team is as void of talent as everybody tries to make them out to be. I think the Dallas Cowboys still are in position to maybe win this division.
But is this the guy to make the example out of?
No. I don't think this is about the example. I think this is about the details. Right. I think they really kind of know the number. I think it's about structure. It's about being able to have guaranteed money. It's all the little things. This is where Jerry's trying to negotiate, trying to make sure that he has more flexibility, that it's not a deal that benefits the player like Dak Prescott, where he finds himself, at the mercy of the player later in his contract. Because CeeDee is not a one-contract guy. Right. He's a two-contract guy. So you want to make sure you structure this in the right way, that you have some type of flexibility.
And we know from their history, the Cowboys want to make this a longer contract, help spread out that signing bonus hit. And the player oftentimes wants the shorter contract because he wants to hit free agency again while he's still young. So I think a lot of that is going back and forth. Once the Justin Jefferson deal got done, I do think that the money numbers were pretty well set. But the Cowboys are looking at trying to do a deal with Dak Prescott, possibly before the start of the season. Right. They're looking at trying to do a deal with Micah Parsons next offseason. So they have to fit these all together. This is what they've been telling all three of these guys all along. We have to structure these deals so they fit together, and so far they haven't been able to do it. I think they want to get a sense of what the Dak deal is going to look like before they sign off on a CD deal.
Yeah, and Hawk, we were talking about it earlier with a receiver. You guys aren't structured to just go from independently working out to week 1 NFL speed in a game. That has to be a concern if this deal gets done within the next week, getting ready for that season opener in Cleveland.
Absolutely. There's no way to get ready to play receiver in the National Football League except by playing wide receiver in the National Football League. It doesn't matter what kind of drills, who you're working out with, how good a shape you think you are. There's a level of intensity that you just can't duplicate by yourself. It's like when you're injured or someone's coming back from injury, you can do all the cone drills and change the direction that you know is coming you want, but in a game, it's completely different. And here's the analogy I used. We can all say, hey, if I told you to run as fast as you possibly could, you would think that that was fast. And then if I put a Bobcat in the room, you would hit a whole new level. That's what a CeeDee Lamb is not able to prepare for.
I mean, welcome to the new NFL. This is where we are. Right?
Yeah.
Guys are going to try and go back to the market, get more money when they feel like they have the leverage.
I want to know where Harry's getting a Bobcat.